Hey guys, in this tutorial we will be looking at setting up a Heroku account. Heroku is a very popular platform as a service, or PaaS for short, and essentially they allow you to upload your code and host a website with very minimal effort. They support automatically scaling your site based on the website load, and essentially they take away a lot of the infrastructural requirements and considerations that you would probably make when hosting a website. Up until this point, we would have set up XAMPP with the Apache server on our local machines, and that would allow us to browse to our sites when we're on our machine or probably over a network share. But then when we want it to be published to the internet, we probably don't want the hassle of setting up XAMPP and an Apache server and configuring it for web access and a lot of firewall rules. So what a PaaS, or in this case Heroku, allows you to do is abstract all of those configurations and setups and considerations and just put your code there, and they will take care of all of that infrastructure and setup and hardware consideration for you. Heroku out of the box supports a number of languages, including JavaScript, Ruby on Rails, Python, but for our purposes, PHP. And they also support hosted database services like ClearDB server, which would be used for our MySQL server hosting. It's worthy to note that Heroku is also free, and you can start paying for certain add-ons and certain customizations, but out of the box, they are free. And so today what we're going to do is just go ahead and set up our account. So you see the button here that says sign up for free. We can go ahead and click that. And signing up is pretty straightforward. They just want your name, your email address. The company name is optional, the role that you'll be playing, the country, and if you're a robot or not. After you've completed this form, you can go ahead and sign in. I already have an account, so I'll just go ahead and log in. After logging in, you'll be led to your administrator dashboard, where you can manage any app that you may have. Since this would probably be your first time here, then you would have no apps, but you can go ahead and create a new one if you wish. And you can walk through that. So I can say test PHP. Okay, so what happens is that out of the box, it is going to give you subdomain. So whatever your app name is, you get that as a subdomain of the Heroku site. So you want to make sure that your app name is very unique. As you see, it was validating that, and you can choose a region. So I'm closer to the United States region, so I'll leave that there. And then I'll click create app. And what it does is give me the ability to deploy anything that I want to this space. So it kind of creates this container, similar to how we would have set up a folder in our Apache server and then filled it with any resources needed for our site. On Heroku, they created this container, and then they give us tips as to how we can deploy anything that we are working on to this container. So Heroku, it's well documented, it's really cool, and it allows you to connect directly to GitHub, so you can actually push your files directly from your machine using the Heroku command line interface. And we will be installing this also, and it relies on the Git libraries, which we would have installed before. And so you can actually do that. You can actually just synchronize it with an existing Git repository. And if you have it on GitHub, which we probably do by this point, you can actually just connect to GitHub, connect to the repository, and have it hosted. So here I'm just going to connect with GitHub. I'm already logged in, and I'm going to just search and find the one that I want. The one that we're working on up until now is new site. So I'm just going to connect it. And there it is connected, and it is now configured to automatically allow deployments from GitHub directly into the Heroku container. Now, after connecting our repository to our Heroku container, the next thing we want to do is we can just set up automatic deployments if we want, meaning every time we publish changes to the master branch in our GitHub repository, it would automatically update our Heroku, and that would keep it in sync. Or we can do a manual deploy. So I'm just going to quickly do a manual deploy. I'm just going to deploy a branch, and we'll see some amount of logging and quote unquote magic happening where it's actually pulling all the files from GitHub and putting here. And then what I'm going to do is just ensure that deploy to Heroku has a green tick, and then I can click view. Now, if you look at the bottom left corner, or I'll just click it and you can look at the link, you see that the link is whatever the site name is, which is test PHP trev with hyphens in between .herokuapp.com. And if we look closely, we see hello world. And do recall that that is the text that was being printed in our GitHub repository index.php page. So I'm just going to click on this link, which would launch GitHub. I middle clicked it, so it launched it in a new tab. And then if I look in the index page, we see that all we're doing is printing hello world. And so once again, this is where it comes in handy to make sure that your first page is always called index, because Heroku would automatically look inside the list of files that have been added to the container and automatically load the index page first. And so that's why we end up with hello world being printed automatically. And then if we wanted to get to the about page, then I would say all of this default links /about.php. And I don't think I have anything printed in my about page, so I get a blank page. But essentially, we know how to get our PHP application from our computer to some form of hosting on the internet. And just to verify that this is actually on the internet, you can go ahead and share this link with a friend just to show them that you have uploaded your first website. That concludes our very short and very succinct tutorial on setting up Heroku. You can experiment with it more. You have almost infinitely many free spaces or containers that you can spin up. If you want your own website, then if you wanted like www.mywebsite.com as opposed to the app name .heroku.com, then you're going to have to end up spending some money. All right. And so Heroku makes it free to host with certain limitations. And I think at this point, it is good enough for us to learn the basics. So I hope you had fun, and you can feel free to drop me a line if you had any difficulty along the way.